Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day in my neighborhood. It is the first day of back to school where I am, and I really hope that those of you all who are sending your youngsters back to school today, they will have an exceedingly exceptional and productive year. This vlog is going to be a little bit different from things that I normally share on my platform, but when I saw a clip that was floating around, I don't even know when this clip was done, honestly, and I was unable to find the original author, but the information that this young lady presented was so egregious to me that it compelled me to research the information, and then I decided to do this vlog in hopes to really give more awareness and hopefully assist these young men with gaining some more traction. So this vlog is going to be a part of something that I'm calling the Injustice Files, and I have a sneaky suspicion that I'll be doing additions to this. Nevertheless, let me dive into the meat of what I want to talk about. First of all, let me give a disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. I've never practiced as a lawyer. I worked for a lawyer when I was a teenager. I don't think that qualifies. I am not dispensing advice, but I am giving my opinion as I see it based upon what I have been able to research and what I've been able to locate in articles, which admittedly have not been a whole lot, and for me, I believe that that's for obvious reasons. So the case in and of itself is about two young men named Juan Rayford Jr. and Dupree Glass. These young men attended a house party in 2004, so that's been 15 years now. Attended a house party in 2004. They were about 17 or so when they attended this party. By all accounts, Juan wasn't even in the party itself. He was in another part of the house playing video games. I was unable to locate exactly where Dupree was, but for me, it really doesn't matter. At some point, there was an altercation. There were two gentlemen two kids who had issues with one another, which is not atypical among teenagers. And at some point, shots were fired. This is where it starts to delve into a hot mess. So shots were fired. There was, one, no loss of life, no casualties. Two, there were no injuries because nobody was hit. And three, no one could definitively say who had the weapons. For all witnesses' accounts, or by all witnesses' accounts, Rayford did not have a weapon, and that had been corroborated by the host, who was a 15-year-old girl, if I remember correctly, and her mother. That was their house. Their stories changed, though, over the course of time, and I'm not quite sure what the final version was, but at least the original version was these young men had nothing to do with this crime. So the problem that I have with this is that the prosecutors decided that they were going to take on this case. Not only that they were going to take on this case, but they, number one, created a scenario where these boys were somehow not just involved, but were wholly responsible for the events that transpired that night. So much so that they were able to get a judge to sign off on $11 million bond. Imagine you are the parents of a 17-year-old child who did nothing but attend a party, and by all accounts, all he did all night was play video games. And all of a sudden, he's not only been arrested, but he's been charged with 11 counts of murder and has an $11 million bail or bond. My mouth is just open still thinking about that, like trying to wrap my head around that. Anyway, what they charged the young men with was 11 counts of attempted homicide. Attempted homicide. In a crime where, or I shouldn't even say in a crime, in a situation where no loss of life occurred, there were no fatalities, there were no traumatic injuries, there was not even a hint of bodily harm. These two black boys were charged and eventually sentenced to 220 years plus 11 life sentences. Can we just marinate in that for a minute, you guys? 220 years at 17 or 18 or whenever the trial commenced, and 11 life sentences for a situation where there was no loss of life, no casualties, no traumatic injuries at all. If that is not the most glaring case of a failed system and prosecution gone wrong, I don't know what is. I really don't. So I need for you guys to research this case on your own. I'll drop a couple of links below. I'd like for you to sign the petition at change.org, but I also would like for you to write the legislative body, bombard them with questions and demand answers. I honestly believe that, and I find it ironic that this is a state that Kamala Harris represents when her prosecutorial record has been under fire and under question. Listen, don't come for me for her as a candidate. I'm just making it a connection. But I do think that she should be involved in this case in some type of way, or at least giving some counsel and assisting these young men. If there are material facts that have not come into play, I think that those should be explored, or that should be explored, and everything that can exonerate these young men should be laid bare. But when I look at when I look at the facts of the case and the story as it's been written, it does not make sense to me. And my heart really goes out to these young men who have grown up behind bars, honestly, who went through puberty and manhood behind bars. And it is something that is so rife within our community, and we've got to stop accepting it. We really do. These young men deserve a chance at a life. They deserve to be exonerated, and they deserve to have their cases reopened and examined. I really believe that. And so if you believe that too, please, again, research the case for yourself, sign the change.org petition, write to Senator Harris and anyone else that may be able to get enough traction and enough spotlight on this case so that these young men can have a sense of a life and have fair representation. That was another thing that I saw in one of the articles, that they were assigned public defenders, and the public defender, being overworked and overburdened with their caseload, was not able to give a sufficient defense, which in and of itself is an issue. But as the mother of two black boys, obviously, and as a concerned person for just black children in general, it's important that we wrap arms around these young men and let them know that they're not alone. I'll even try and find information to write to these young men to offer them support and encouragement as much as we possibly can, because I think that that's important as well. At any rate, leave your thoughts and comments below. If you find some additional information that may be useful for viewership, please leave contact information. And I do want to give a special shout out and prayer to the parents of these young men who have been fighting endlessly for the last 15 years for their children's freedom and for their exoneration in these cases. And I understand that Juan's father in particular has been doing a yeoman's effort to try and get his son some justice. So I think that we as a community, we as a delegation, owe it to them to give them our support. We support every doggone thing else, including that chicken sandwich, which I'm not hating on. But let's try and give some support where it's needed most. All right, talk to y'all later.